Thank you so much. As already programmed on our timetable, it is time for history, and specifically O-level history. And I want to take you through that is none other than myself, Tinker Jackson, a teacher of history who has taught history for some years, and I'm currently teaching at Mother SS Hoima, one of the best schools around the country. Results do not lie. I've been there since 1997, but it does not mean that I've not taught in other schools around. I've been teaching around other schools. And I think from what I hear, there is some good blessing on the results that are produced. So today, without wasting time, I'm going to take you through a few things in history. The entire history, not only East Africa, not only South Africa, not West Africa, the entire O-level history. I'm going to take you through one item. That's the basics of writing a good history essay. We are going to look at what makes history, what makes a good essay good. And those are the basics we are going to look at today, because very many people have been writing essays, but they don't know what makes it good. At the end of the day, you don't get the same marks. Why? Because you have not done what is required for you to earn good marks. You might have written more, but is this what they want you to write? So today, what it is, you are spot on to get this from me. Our heading is best writing a good history essay, and we shall begin with the first one, which is very essential, and that is paragraphing. In history, we make paragraphs. But people have been wondering how big or what's the size of a good history paragraph. And of course, what makes a paragraph look better? It is the point. I can give an example. When you are asked reasons for the coming of Arabs at the coast of East Africa, you are going, of course, to answer in paragraphing. And I'm going to tell you how they paragraph. But before you can do anything on that, you write the point. Like for example, if I give you an answer of reason for the coming of the Arabs at the coast of East Africa, we can talk about the strategic location. Strategic location. That's one of the reasons why the Arabs were interested in coming at the coast of East Africa. Strategic location. What was strategically located? So it is the point you begin with. Always begin with the point. After stating the point, then you can add. You can explain the point. Strategic location, accessing the mid of the Indian Ocean with the Far East, and that's why they would be able to manage in the overseas trading experiences. And of course, you can also say strategically located in the sense that it would allow ocean moving vessels to dock at the harbors. They could anchor. They could be anchored at the harbors en route to India and beyond. So that is the explanation I have to put on this point. But what's the most important here? The most important is how big will this one be? You don't need to write a lot of rugambo. People call it a rugambo. A good paragraph in history is between 2 to 3 lines. So you can write, then write. You get a point? This will be enough. And you avoid outlining. What do I mean when I say you avoid outlining? Outlining is you only put the point, and which is not done what? Which is not explained. That's called what? An outlining. And I can assure you, don't expect marks when you do this without adding some people say dress the point, and you cannot dress it without explaining. That's number one. Then after that, we are also going to look at the parts. After looking at that paragraphing, we are going to look at parts that make a good essay. Parts that make a good history essay. What are these parts? There are three parts that make a good history essay. The first part is the introduction. The second part is the body. And the third one is the what? The conclusion. If you can give all these three, you are good to get good marks, and you will be able to score. If you can do all this, you cannot fail to get good marks in history. They can also be tabulated. In fact, to make it clear, we shall draw a human being. We shall draw a human being. And this one is what we are calling the introduction. That is the introduction. Then from here to here is what we are calling the what? The body. And down here is what we are calling our conclusion. Yes. So we are now going back to one by one after the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. What is in the introduction? In the introduction here, now I can remove these two. I will explain one by one. This is the most important part of the question, the introduction. Very many people have not been introducing. As I've been marking, you find somebody has not even given what is an introduction. That one is what kickstarts or kicks the ball rolling before you can answer anything. It is the core of the question. It's like, for example, if a dentist is going to extract somebody's tooth, it does not begin with the extract. You have to first, there's some kind of injection they give you. So this is our beginning. So we begin with the introduction. And how big is an introduction? Like we said in the paragraphing, 2 to 3 lines, but this time here, we're also going to make it paragraphing, introduction paragraph. We can give an example of an introduction. For example, when we're talking about a question like, why were the Ngoni able to migrate, or what were the reasons for the Ngoni migration into East Africa? Reason for the Ngoni migration and settlement into East Africa. What is our introduction here? We are going to, first of all, define the Ngoni. Who were they? We shall also talk about relationship with others, with other people in the introduction. We shall talk about origin and also talk about when they arrived in East Africa. So you are going to define where they are going, and of course we define them as a branch of the Bantu speaking people. Somebody called them Untu speakers. And of course, we know in history, these were the last batch. When we talk of them being the last batch, this is nothing to worry people. It is the last group of Bantu migration into East Africa. So we shall define them as Bantu Nguni speakers. They spoke a language called Nguni. And then after that, we shall talk about their relation with other people. And of course, we know these were related with the people called the Ndwadwe of South Africa. Of course, why do they relate with the Ndwadwe? Because they share very many things in common. They say a lot, the cultures, and that's why they are close relatives of the Ndwadwe. Then after that, we shall talk about their origin, where they come from. They came from a place called the Natal province, or some people call it Southeastern Africa, or in the Natal what? Province. Of course, we can also add on when that was as early as 1820s, and if possible, you can also add on reason. The most important reason is because they were fleeing Shaka. Shaka was a period known as the Mofekane, that is in paper 4, Mofekane period. And then after that, when it is by 1840, they had started penetrating into East Africa. But of course, by 1848, we know what had happened to their great leader, that is Wangendaba, who led the first wave from Natal. So this is part of the introduction. You have made it. After this introduction, now we are going to the one that they call the what? The body. Introduction done. You now go to. But before you go to the body, there is a tendency by students to disjoint the essay. What do I mean by disjointing? In primary, they taught us disjointed legs of an insect. In other words, making sure that the head is different from the what? From the body. How do they make it? When the students tend to state something which always irritates us, the markers or the teachers, they say, after the introduction, they say, the following were therefore the reasons for the Bantu, for the Ngoni migration, that already separates the body from the what? From the introduction from the body, which is not allowed. It is advisable that after stating the introduction, clearly, like I have told you here, you just straight away go to the what? To the body. And what do? You mention your first point. If here you gave around 3 or 4 points, the first point on the body is number 5 here. If in the introduction you gave 4, then the fifth will be the first point. Like what could be the first point about the Ngoni migration is Shaka's wars. Shaka's wars of expansion. So, this one is not the first point. It is number 5, but which is added on the what? On the introduction. But some people tend to say, my first point on this is that irritates. And this is due to the following points, which has always been disturbing students. So the moment you mention you state your introduction very well, you straight away go to the the points that you have. And of course, very often the body, like if, and by the way, this is only to be done on only part A. Introduction is only on part A of the question. Introduction. And all other questions that it is required describe on part B. But for a question like that one I have said about the goal, it is only on part A. And this one will come in part B, as I will later explain. Now part A, you put your introduction and even the body. And we are saying the body has all the ingredients that you need to support your introduction. And these are the points that you are going to give. One of them I've given you: Shaka's rules of expansion, the poor invasion, blah 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 blah, and so on and so forth. But let's not go beyond. If the part A is requiring 12 points, 12 marks, you can write as far as 15 points. Why? Because we are not very sure that all the 12 questions, we are not very sure that all the 12 what? All the 12 points you have put are correct. You are not your own marker. So you cannot dictate that all the points I've given here are correct. Remember what I forgot to tell you, that by stating a very good introduction, a convincing one, you earn yourself 2 marks. But people will say now, can't I miss those 2 marks?